I'm starting my getting ready for fall project by using this old piece of wood that I found. It measures 12 inches in length and 5.5 inches in width. It's definitely seen better days, so I took a piece of sandpaper and I just gave it a good sanding. Once the surface was smooth, I painted it completely with my khaki acrylic paint. I didn't repair any of the imperfections on the wood. I wanted this to be more of a rustic scarecrow. I thought the imperfections may give it a little more character. Once the paint was completely dry, it was then time to add the face. I wanted to pop in here and give a huge shout out to Janny and Dyanne from Deco Easy for putting together this super fun collab called Getting Ready for Fall. There are so many wonderful women participating in this collab, and I'm going to link Janny and Dyanne's channel below along with the playlist in my description. So when you get a chance, make sure you check it out. I decided to give my scarecrow oval eyes, so I'm using 2 of these 0 stickers as my template. I found the center and then placed them on the wood. I then traced them, and you can definitely do this freehand. It was just easier for me to get both of the ovals the exact same size. When I was done, I removed the stickers and my eyes are ready to paint. I then used my black acrylic paint to fill in the scarecrow's eyes. Once the black paint had dried, I'm now going to use some white acrylic paint to give the eyes an expression. I used a thinner paintbrush and made 2 half moons on the outside edge. Then using the back of my paintbrush, I added 2 dots. I drew on 2 eyebrows and used it as a guide for my paintbrush. For the nose, I cut out a triangular piece of paper and used that as my template. Once I was done, I used a spice orange paint to fill in the triangle. Once my orange paint dried, I then added some little black stitch accents on the nose. Using the same paintbrush, I then free-handed a mouth. I'm giving the scarecrow some hair by using some raffia that I had on hand. I grabbed a handful and then tied it in the center with another piece of raffia. Then using my glue gun, I attached it to the top of the head. Then using my scissors, I gave it a little bit of a haircut. To make the hat, I'm using some fabric that I already had on hand. To cut out the brim, I'm going to use a 12-inch dinner plate as my template. I'm using this cardboard triangle. It measures approximately 7 by 16 inches. You'll need to cut out 4 of these for the hat. I used it for some gnome hats that I made, and I'll actually link that video above in case you'd like to check them out. Now that everything's cut out, we're going to hot glue the pieces together. I normally would sew these, but today I'm going to attach them together with my glue gun. After applying the glue, I'm going to lay one of the other triangles on top of it. I follow the same instructions until all 4 pieces are attached. I place a bead of glue on the last triangle. I then fold over the edge of the first triangle and attach them together. Don't worry if it's not perfect, because scarecrows are definitely not perfect. To figure out how big I need the hole to fit the hat over the scarecrow's head, I placed it against it and then used my scissors to poke a couple of holes in the fabric as a reference. Then using my scissors and the reference points, I cut out the center. Attaching the top part of the hat to the brim, place a bead of hot glue on the edge of the fabric, then slightly fold the bottom of the hat and place it on the hot glue. You're going to continue doing this as you move around the opening, and if it looks like you're going to have a little bit extra fabric, just kind of gather it when you're hot gluing it into place. Give the hot glue a few minutes to set up, and then we're going to turn the hat inside out. To give it more of a rustic farmhouse look, I'm going to fray up the edges. This is completely optional, but I really like the way that it looks. I'm using some burlap from the Dollar Tree and some ribbon I had on hand. I'm wrapping the burlap around the hat where we attached it together to get my measurements. I'm then cutting off both the top and the bottom finished edge. Once I'm done, I'm fraying up both sides. Once again, this is completely optional. I just really like the way it looks. I'm then gluing the burlap in the center of the hat where I attached the brim and the top part together. The fun part about this project is it's a trash to treasure, so you can use just about anything that you have on hand. You could use yarn or twine for the hair and mix and match different patterns of fabric. Once that's done, using some black ribbon, I'm attaching that in the center of the burlap. I'm adding some raffia to the hat, so I'm snipping off about 2 inches on the top. I'm making the raffia for the hat just like I did for the hair. Once I'm done, I'm pushing the loose ends out of the top. Then, so they won't move, I'm securing them into place with my glue gun. I'm not stuffing the hat, but I'm just filling it with some of the loose raffia just to give it a little bit of fullness. With the hat complete, we're now sliding it over the scarecrow's head. Once I have it exactly where I want it, I'm then hot gluing it into place. I'm adding this cute sunflower as an accent. I folded one corner of the brim, I hot glued it into place, and then I placed my sunflower. I also ended up adding a little leaf under the flower. To finish up the project, I'm adding a couple of jute accents. I made some figure eights with the jute about 8 inches long, then tied it around the top of the hat. I then separated the jute into some loops. To make his bow tie, I figured about how large I wanted it, and then once again, I just made a bunch of figure eights in the jute. I added a little tie of twine to the center to hold it together. Then to finish it off, I used a piece of the coordinating fabric and I just hot glued it around the little center tie. I hot glued it into place and our scarecrow is complete. This project was so much fun, it was super easy, and I just used things that I had around the house. I hope you had fun hanging out with me and making these projects, and if you think, hey, I'd like to come back and hang out with her again, don't forget to click that little red subscribe button below, and I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.